Hello and welcome back. Today I will show you how to plan your campaign on World Anvil and how to create a campaign primer for your players to follow. During this video I will show you resources to make use of for free, the plot article template on World Anvil, and some tips and tricks on how to make your articles look pretty even if you don't have a paid membership. So let's get started. When it comes to campaign planning, there is a stage where you have this frightening blank slate. Maybe a rough idea, but how do we put that into a framework to work with? For me, there are 3 resources to look at, and I will explain for each of these why I use them. My starting point is the Archives of Nethys. If you don't have the Pathfinder 2e Game Mastery Guide at hand, this is the official rules resource by Paizo, and it will contain all the rules stuff without any fluff or imagery. Best part? You are absolutely allowed to use these in your games. In this section, we find basic campaign structures as well as adventure frameworks to use. This page is all we need for our campaign skeleton, so I put a link down in the description and we will make heavy use of this later on. The Zeitgeist campaign by EN Publishing has a great example of a player's guide and campaign guide. There are 3 free PDFs to download which give you an idea on what to put into your campaign guide and which information your players will need to create a character suitable for your campaign. If you plan to do this in a homebrew setting, it will also give you a hint on things you need to build first. I will put a link in the description and encourage you to download these, because I will not show them on screen while I use them. And if you like some steampunk industrial age action, consider buying the campaign and play it. It's a great campaign. Another amazing resource brought to you by Paizo. The Adventure Path Player's Guides provide you with a basic structure too. Since Paizo Adventure Paths are set in their own world of Golarion, you will not find as much additional information as you would need in a homebrew setting or any world you use for 5e. Nevertheless, they do provide you with basic ideas, so I will link them down in the description too. For the following steps, we will need a campaign on World Anvil. If you created your world with an RPG setting, you will already have one. If you don't, or want to add another, click on the drop-down in the top navigation bar. Switch over to Campaigns and click on Create New Campaign. Fill in the details as needed, then save changes. If you use your existing campaign, click on Campaign in the left navigation bar. This will lead to your campaign manager, which is already a pretty powerful tool to manage everything surrounding your campaigns. First, you may want to move to the Settings tab and edit your campaign. Give it a cover image and a description if you want to, pick if you are looking for players, and fill in the presentation settings. These are important if you plan to use Discord for voice or a VTT like Foundry. The links in here are only available to your players, so this will be very helpful for them. You can also select if your campaign is visible on your world homepage. After some experiences with players and World Anvil, I would recommend it is. Then move on to plots. If you already have articles with the plot type, you can pick your main plot. But if you haven't, you can click on Create New Plot Article. It's not that visible as a link in dark mode, but it is clickable and it will give you a blank plot article template. Name it Campaign Structure or Campaign Guide or whatever you need to remember what this is and why your players should not be able to see this. First, let's have a walkthrough on this template so we get a little bit familiar with it. As usual, you will have a vignette at the very top. This is your article introduction field, and while I don't recommend it, you can totally work with only the vignette. Below you can find the Great GM plot sheet parts. At this stage we will not make use of these, but they come in handy later. Then we have our main template structure. Like the character article or any article type in World Anvil besides the generic article, This is divided into different tabs. The generic tab holds all information that is close to universal for this plot. Structure gives you the possibility to plot deeper and develop your campaign or adventure arc. In components, you will make note of goals, hooks, stakes, and problems of your campaign, while in relations, you can take note of the different important characters and factions. And finally, the backdrops lets you keep track of locations, monsters, and anything else that belongs to your world and is in any way related to your campaign, like historical things or entries. First things first, give your article a name if you haven't done so yet. Then move to the right-hand widget where you can see the Add Text part. Add text to your article. Include one tag that clearly indicates that this is something your players shouldn't see. I'm a simple girl, I prefer something like GM info. If you have a paid membership, you will see the public indication above the two buttons. Click on it to make your article private. Again, this is nothing your players should stick their noses in. If you are on a free membership level, you need to sacrifice one of your precious draft articles to keep this a secret. Next, let's make use of the template to fill in our skeleton. In the vignette, I will put an allowed. This will make the section a little bit prettier on all subscription levels, and it's easy to use. In that allowed, I will put the campaign type I choose from the list on the Archives of Nethys, as well as the indicated level range for this campaign. In my example, I will use an epic campaign ranging from level 1 to 20. Make this part even prettier by formatting the text as a headline or by centering it. Give it an underline, anything you like. You can also set this information as the article subtitle, which is in the sections, header sections part of the article. As you may have noticed, the entry for the campaign structure gives us some adventures to put into that campaign. To make use of that, make sure you are in the generic part of your template. Then scroll down to the substructures field. We will put a list in here with one line for every adventure. I like to have a numbered list, so create that list, you can click on the numbered list icon here. Copy the inner BB code, since this is a part that tells the browser and World Anvil that this is a list item. Paste it as many times as you need until you have the total number of adventures you want to have. Pro tip: if you use Euclid and you want to keep your sanity, make sure to add a line break after your opening tag and then after the closing tags of each list item. Thank me later. If you want to keep the adventure suggestions from the base campaign structure, fill them in here. For this example, I will mostly keep them, but will replace some of the adventures. The adventures you put down in here will be your major plot-related adventures. In between them, you will have filler adventures, side quests, personal arcs, and anything else you can't quite plan for yet. At this point, the time has come to develop a plot. Since plotting is a topic for a whole other video, I will not develop a plot here, just explain why plotting is important at this point. A plot will help you bring the adventures in the right order and assign them an important milestone within your evil machinations. For the sake of this tutorial, I decided to go with the campaign idea presented in Champions of Darkness as a basic plot. So my characters will therefore be of evil or neutral alignment if you want to play with alignment at all. I usually prefer a moral grayscale approach. While my campaign structure recommends a dungeon crawl as the first adventure, Champions of Darkness recommends to restrict the opening to a single session. So we would have a one-shot as our first adventure. I will deny both of these approaches and start out with a mystery adventure over 2 sessions. To keep things pretty open at this point, I will name it Murder in Seidenberg. This gives me a starting location, the city of Seidenberg, as well as an idea how the characters can be discovered by the Ebon Gargoyles and therefore recruited by solving the murder mystery. In my adventure list, I will place the adventure as a dummy link by adding the command add article title and then plot in brackets. You can see the command on screen right now. This will create a link for me to click and further build on that adventure. I will also add in the adventure type here, which will make it easier to build out the locations based on the recipe for this adventure type. Next, the campaign outline provides a call for a test. I decided that they will deal with a cursed house within Barovia and make it a horror adventure, taking place over 3 sessions. I think this will be a von Zarovich estate, so I call the adventure The Lost Estate and create a dummy link for it. I will, again, mark the adventure type for my own reference. The next span of the campaign calls for a high adventure, a journey to Darkon. I will call this Into the Enemy's Lair. After their return, we have characters which already have a certain reputation and had plenty of opportunity to give in to corruption. Perfect place to create our romantic adventure. After all, Gothic deals with emotions all the time, and having them deal with a rival, romantic or in the nobility of Barovia will give us the opportunity to deal with that. This adventure I will call The Rose of Barovia. This will lead seamlessly into our next plot adventure. Our characters will finally take out a betrayer or anybody in the enemy's command structure. I think their opponent in the previous adventure will be a betrayer, and they will deal in this next adventure with him. This is where our gritty adventure takes place. I will call it The Hand That Feeds. Now the stakes reach their highest point. The Cold War turns hot and we have our military adventure take place. I will call this The Head of the Hydra and one last time mark the adventure type. As you can see, our campaign planning follows the plot of the campaign outline I picked. I made it easy by picking adventure recipes to apply here and will still have room enough to expand the campaign using personal arcs and side quests. At this point, move through the template and fill in all the details you want to have in here. Maybe even decide on the most important NPCs you will need, your villain, and of course the henchmen they put down in the gritty adventure. Once you are done, make sure that the plot is assigned as a master plot to your campaign, then we will move on. The next step in your preparation will be the player's guide. Everything that follows is obviously up to you, but I will show you how I do it. I will keep the player's guide in the introduction category of my player's handbook. To keep things organized, I will break it up into different articles. In general, I will follow this guideline. I will have a generic article as an introduction article, which will deal with pronunciation and spellings and anything like that. Then I will have a generic article which deals with character creation and should hold information on all the options available to my players. A third generic article will be called Equipment and Technology and will hold information about the technology level and which gadgets and gear is available to them. The Organization article will deal with the main faction of your campaign or adventure. In my case, this is the Ebon Gargoyles, which will be the faction my characters should join over the course of the campaign. In Reputation and Prestige, I will deal with other factions my characters can gain a reputation with, and this is again a generic article. The Settlement article will deal with my starting city, and a good part of the first adventures will be here. So this is the Seidenberg article. And the last generic article will be the Lands of the Core, which deals with all the neighboring domains and lands my characters could visit or will visit over time. I will not bore you by filling all that stuff out, especially since this will take ages to complete, but I will give you some advice when it comes to making an article pretty and structured. In addition, I will give you some sanity advice first. D&D 5e, as well as Pathfinder in any edition, has an overwhelming amount of player options. I encourage you to limit them for your campaign. If you are playing in a world without magic, there is no sane reason to allow a wizard. If you are in a setting where elves don't exist, don't allow them. That background that doesn't fit into your setting, don't allow it. Yes, some players will hate you for this. And at first glance, it seems easier to just allow anything. It isn't, trust me. You want to create an immersive narrative, so eliminating options that would stick out like a sore thumb will make this part of your job much easier. And this goes for homebrew as well. It doesn't matter how popular this specific niche homebrew class is with some people. If you don't know it and you are not experienced enough to determine if it is balanced or not, don't allow it. After all, as long as you are the one who puts in all the hours of campaign prep, mapping, NPC building, adventure building, and world building, you are the one who decides what fits into your setting. And now to the actual article tips. Number 1, form follows function. This is really important, and this is for every article really. Write in your information first. Divide it with headlines and subheadlines. Give it a logical structure, especially when it comes to character creation. Have the same structure within your article. Give it a read and see how you got the structure right, before you even attempt to apply visuals. Number 2. An image is worth 1,000 words. If you can open a specific section with an image that helps establishing a look, feel, theme, or mood, do so. Something full width but only 100 to 150 pixels height works best for me. Images can help you bring a point across without spending hours on writing prose. Number 3. Break long lists into column sets if possible. That list of background descriptions, break it into columns. The 2-sentence descriptions of important people your characters could know before the campaign even starts, put them into columns. Columns will make your content easier to read, especially when the information is short but on a lots of points. Number 4. Use tables for structured data. If you have a list of settlements and you provide each settlement with the same set of information, consider using a table, especially when these infos fit into a single line. An example for this is, as I said, a settlement overview. Name of the settlement, number of people living here, name of the burgomaster, maybe even the name of a notable inn or tavern. Another great example would be a list of available gear. Tables can save your sanity and make things easy to structure. And pretty. They are also pretty. Number 5. Make important information visible. Last, give your article another read. Which block of information needs highlight? Which are the most important parts of a structure? These are the paragraphs or parts you should highlight. You can use some built-in formatting tools on World Anvil like quotes or allowed containers to do so. If you want to have some information in here but it will not be relevant for everybody, put it into a spoiler to declutter your article. Those tables from before, put them into a spoiler as well. And that's it. I can't help you fill in your articles, but you will be able to do so now. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, give it a like and subscribe for more helpful content. If it wasn't, let me know in the comments why so I can improve. If you want to see more, you can see the video up here. And until next time, stay fluffy and bye!